First of all, welcome you all to Tibet House on the very auspicious occasion of the Buddha Shakyamuni's three important the anniversaries confluenced on a single day: birth, enlightenment, and Mahaparinirvana. And some of you may be wondering, particularly those of you who were here the last time, you may be wondering as to how come there are two different dates. This could be a question. And in fact, the whole purpose, for example, say, those who are already familiar to some degree, at least to some degree, of what is known as conventional reality, as how things exist but a part of the conventions. This is a clarification which is required to be made here, because oftentimes people may be wondering that, a month ago we celebrated the Buddha's Parinirvana Day, and again today, after 1 month later, again we are celebrating. So one is wrong. So which is wrong? So I might be just wasting my time going to Tibet House, not wondering, not knowing as to which is accurate one. This may be the wrong one, and so forth. So the clarification required here, this is extremely important. And in fact, what I would say is that even to get a clue as to why both the days are important, so in fact, the 2 days happen because of two different calendars. And respecting the two calendars on the basis of your understanding of what is known as ultimate reality, emptiness, conventional truth. So that will tell us that both are so important. In fact, calendar, objectively, from the object side, there's no calendar. For example, the road, right lane, left lane, which is correct? The road will not decide. It is the human beings who create convention. They decide. And right lane is the correct one, left lane is the correct one. Both are correct in a specific context, in a specific region. In America, right lane is correct. In India, in England, left lane is correct. And it's not that one is correct and the one is wrong. Both are correct, but in a different context, depending on different conventions. Likewise, both the calendars are correct. Both the calendars are correct because calendars are created by the human beings. On the basis of various experiences, on the basis of various purposes and so forth. Calendars are created by the human beings. And even at the time of the Buddha Shakyamuni, there were so many various kinds of calendars at the time of the Buddha Shakyamuni. And if you read the sutras, meaning the Buddha's own teachings, there we will see the description of the dialogues happening, conversations happening between the monks and the Buddha Shakyamuni. And the monks reporting the Buddha Shakyamuni as to how the outside people, they disagree with them with regard to a particular calendar. And the Buddha said, follow the Buddha acknowledged what the other side, what the calendar proposed by the other side, what is the special benefit of that. Buddha acknowledged that. And then the next time again, the different monks again came up with some kind of confusion to the Buddha, and the Buddha again clarified. And finally, when two things became very confused, then the Buddha said, follow the calendar as followed by the king, who is the greatest authority in this place. So there are so many calendars, and because the calendars are not identical, the dates are bound to be different. This is one reason. And of course there is another reason as to why the two calendars differ between the very standard Indian calendar and the very standard Tibetan calendar. Why they do differ, there is another reason as well. It's not just more than the difference in the calendar, the very format of the calendar. There are other the issues as well. So, in other words, what I'm saying is that calendar is a human-made or conventionally created, and then say whichever tradition observes a particular day as the Buddha's, the day of the confluence of the three important anniversaries, and again another calendar following another date. So finally, what matters? Finally, what matters is two things. One is to remember. In any ways, we have to remember this enlightened being's deeds for us to follow suit, follow the footsteps of this greatly enlightened being, for your own benefit, for the benefit of your family members, for the benefit of all the humanity. It's for this reason that we have that remembering or observing a day of the Buddha's enlightened deeds. So that becomes very important. Number one. Number two is that, then you may be wondering that then we can, if this is the case, then we can observe the day anytime you like, and you call it is my calendar. This is also not the case, because these two calendars, Tibetan calendar and the Indian calendar, and very likely there might be a different Chinese calendar, because Chinese also they follow Buddhism. Now, if this were the case, what happens is why this day becomes so significant, unlike other days pertaining to this occasion, is because that there is what is known as individual person accumulating merit and collective accumulation merit. There are two things happening. Two things. So, say the collection is always more powerful than the individual person's accumulation merit. Now, on this day, in this world, all those people who are following the Tibetan calendar, they unanimously celebrate this as a very auspicious day. They accumulate merit and so forth. So if you do that, you become a part of it. So that you become a part of a big, the cumulative merit, and you reap that amount of merit. One. Then the number two is that it's not just that in one place, the enormous merit is accumulated, but this accumulation had been happening over the ages, on the same day, according to the Indian calendar, on the same day according to Tibetan calendar. So much of accumulation of merit happened over since 2,500 years ago till date, which means that in terms of a specific time, enormity of the wealth of virtues accumulated, and in terms of the time span since 2,500 years ago till now, over the stretch of time, there's a tremendous accumulation of merit happening on the same day. So it is for these reasons that this day becomes very important. Now I like to remind you. So how many times we're going to be together like this on this very auspicious day? We never know. Perhaps this could be the last. We never know. And in some cases, we may be separated by distance, by time, so for any reason, we never know. Now the thing is that if by coming together, if we can know the significance of this and make the most out of being here together and make the most of this very special day, then that's the purpose. So what is that? What is that is we remember this enlightened being, and why should we remember? Why should we have to remember this great being? For our own benefit. Finally, how can we receive the maximum benefit out of remembering this being is by emulating the incredibly great, the mental states that this great enlightened being embodied. And these enlightened states, which this enlightened being embodied, constituted of the wisdom and compassion. Wisdom and compassion supported by single-pointed meditation. Three things: wisdom, compassion, two of them supported by a single-pointed meditation. So these three things make him so special. And by us observing this day, oh, is the Buddha's Mahaparinirvana day, and then you simply remember the Buddha, light a candle, and then maybe you do some chant. Okay, this is one thing, but are we really making the most out of this day, or are we really making the greatest meaning out of being together or out of being associated with this special day? This is question. So for this, what we need to do is that say what is closest to the Buddha's heart. What is closest to the Buddha's heart? If we can do that, that's the purpose of our remembering or commemorating these enlightened beings, the anniversaries. Okay, the next question. What is that thing which is closest to his heart? In fact, for him, more than himself, the enlightened, the sentient beings like us, they are treasures for him. We are the ones who he feels so close, so affectionate, so loving, so caring. So we are like the treasures for him. And he wants to make sure that we are happy. So this is the closest thing. This is dearest to his heart. If we can accomplish this, then we are actually doing the greatest service to him. Okay, so now if this were the case, how can we accomplish what is in his mind, what is dearest to his heart? How can we accomplish that? For that, the thing is that he wants us to be happy. What really can create happiness in us, in your family members, in your parents, happiness to be given to your family members, to all sentient beings. So that is possible by knowing a little bit, by probing a little bit deeper into the reality that what makes us miserable, while the true nature of each one of us is not miserable. We are all enlightened. We are all like diamonds. The Buddha Shakyamuni is like a diamond, a very clean diamond, and we are also like diamonds. Each one of us, we are also like diamonds. But our diamond, the only difference between the diamond that we have and the diamond the enlightened beings like Buddha Shakyamuni has, the only difference is one is very defiled. One is so defiled, so filthy, and the other one is so pure, so clean from outside. And deep inside the diamond, if I ask you, which is more clean? Inside. Same, there's no difference. So only the diamond experts will value both equally, whereas ordinary people will simply discard the diamond with filth. They will discard it, saying that it's very dirty, stinky, the thing, and you can discard it. But the sensible people, the diamond experts, they will value both. They will not sell even this dirty diamond even less with a penny. He will not sell even for less. Even a penny less, he will not sell it. He will value it, he will give it the same price, same value. So that way, we are like this very dirty diamonds, and the Buddha is like the fully enlightened or the very clean diamond. So if this were the case, Buddha would be most happy if these dirty diamonds become clean and become the same diamond, clean diamond as his own diamond. So the next question, how to make this diamond clean in order to make this enlightened Buddha very happy. So to know that this diamond is to be cleansed, we have to know what actually consisted of this dirty diamond. Meaning the diamond, which is the defilements, the dirts which pollute this diamond. We have to know the defilements. Now, this defilement, in a very gross sense, in a very loose sense, we can classify the metal defilements into two kinds, the gross and the subtle. Gross and the subtle. For example, your clothes, if you dip it into mud, we see that it is so muddy with a solid mud there. So how to wash it? First you wash it by dipping it into a clean water. Just by dipping into clean water, all the solid dirt will go away. Now after this, you will reach a stage whereby however much you may try to dip it in water, the stains will never go. Right? Now the gross dirts are gone, but the subtle stains are left. Now how to remove the subtle stains? For this, we need a stronger detergent. Right? So to remove the gross defilements, we don't need powerful detergents. Simply put little effort and the gross can be removed. But the subtle ones, to remove that, we need to use very strong detergents. Okay, so likewise, the metal defilements which obscure this diamond-like treasure happens within each one of us. So that is constituted of two levels, the gross and the subtle. The gross one is technically known as afflictive obscurations, and the subtle one is known as cognitive obscurations. And the gross one, afflictive obscurations, the job of this gross defilement is to stop us from experiencing freedom from fears of samsara. So this gross defilements, these stop us from achieving freedom from the fears of samsara. One. Then the subtle one stops us from achieving total enlightenment, total cleansing of the diamond inside us. Okay, so the first one is constituted of three parts. Contaminated actions, all the contaminated actions that we engage in, like 3 physical, 4 verbal, and 3 mental. 3 physical, constituting of stealing, killing, sexual misconduct, the 3. And the 4 verbal, harsh word, lying, then slander, then idle gossip. And then the 3, the mental, covetousness, ill will, wrong view. So these 10 non-virtuous actions, they form a part of the afflictive obscurations. 1. The second one is these 10 non-virtuous actions, they're all driven by the mental states. Your the emotional states, your emotions, they drive you in engaging into these 10 non-virtuous actions. These emotions, negative emotions, destructive emotions, they are known as afflictions. So the first one is the contaminated actions or the karmas. Next one is the afflictions, negative destructive emotions. Then number 3 is the subtle stains or the imprints or the active imprints of the contaminated actions and the afflictions. Number 3. So these 3 constitute afflictive obscurations. And then the subtle stains, like the very inactive seeds, the stains of the afflictions and the contaminated karmas is known as cognitive obscurations. Okay, so these are the things that we need to get rid of. So with that in mind, let us all visualize. It's very auspicious that we are all together here. Somehow we happen to be here in Tibet House, around Tibet House. Somehow we become connected. For example, on this earth, there are 7 billion human beings on this earth. And in India, little over 1 billion human beings. And in Delhi, how many in Delhi?
20 million.
20 million. Okay, 20 million human beings on this earth. And today here is only just a dot number of the population in Delhi here in Tibet House. So we see that we are very fortunate. Out of these 20 million human beings on this earth, in this Delhi, we see that we are all together, although it's not as big number as 20 million, small number, which means that no doubt we have a kind of connection with this enlightened being. So, of course, there are many other people who are celebrating, who are, say, commemorating this occasion in different places, but whether or not they are really trying to do what exactly is dearest to the heart of the Buddha Shakyamuni. Right? So here we will try best to actually implement what is closest to the Buddha's heart. So that is, what we're going to learn is the means, the efforts to cleanse the mental defilements and let this Buddha nature, let this diamond become manifest in us so that each one of us become like Buddha Shakyamuni himself. Right? So if this is what we can do, then we are doing what is dearest to the Buddha's heart. And that is the best way by which to offer or to say offer service to the Buddha Shakyamuni. Okay, with that in mind, okay, let us visualize Buddha Shakyamuni in front of us, so affectionate, so loving, so caring towards each one of us. Not like a painting, not like a statue, but as a living Buddha there in flesh and blood, just embracing you with tremendous love and affection, radiating with love and affection towards you. Where the mother radiates her love and affection towards the very tender child, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the enlightened beings in front of you. Next, imagine you are surrounded by your two kind parents, and your relationship with the parents may be very nice, may be very, affectionate, may not be as affectionate. It doesn't matter. The fact that we are already very strong today, the fact that we are all very self-sufficient today is a clear indication of the tremendous love and affection from the parents that we are able to become one like what we are today. So, when we were age 1, age 2, age 3, we were just like a piece of flesh. We can't do anything. We can't even get a cup of water, glass of water for ourselves. It's only by dependence on the mother's love and affection, the parents' love and affection, that we are able to survive till today. So it's all because of the love and affection from the parents. Why not? Now at this age, when you are self-sufficient and your parents could not come to Tibet House for this program, and let us also let them share their experience of this Buddha nature, this experience of remembering the Buddha Shakyamuni is the greatest thing that is in his heart. So we visualize two of them, your two parents on the two sides, all the family members including your children, and everyone in your family, everyone in Delhi, everyone in India, everyone in the entire earth, and everyone in the entire the world systems in the Milky Way galaxy, and everyone in the entire universe, including the human beings, animals, insects, and so forth. All those who wish for happiness and who shun miseries. And the purpose of this, our meeting together to commemorate this enlightened beings' 3 anniversaries confluenced on one day, is to unravel this ultimate treasure of happiness within us, a diamond to make it totally unraveled, and that we become, each one of us become exactly like the Buddha Shakyamuni, who is totally freed from the ensnarement of samsara. With that in mind, let's turn to this book, the prayer book, which I hope every one of you has it. Okay, just raise your hands if you don't have this book with you. Okay, raise your hands, raise your hands, raise your hands. Raise your hands, raise your hands, raise your hands. Raise your hands. Okay, raise your hands, raise your hands, raise your hands. Okay, good. So we turn to page 2. Page 2. Page 2. And as we read these stanzas, just see how much we can imbibe the meanings of what is written there, to invoke the experiences, to invoke the meanings within the mind. See how much we can do that to the best we can. If we can do that, this is how we are connecting ourselves, making ourselves closer towards the cleansing the mind and reaching to the state of enlightenment. And imagine that everyone is with you, your two parents, and you are leading this, and everyone, all sentient beings are joining you, and all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are observing, they are witnessing what we are doing here. Okay. And here's where great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And here's by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. And to you, by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace which is freedom and aberrations. I prostrate to the mothers of the Buddhas and of the hearers and Bodhisattvas, who through the knowledge of all these hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of past causes those helping my greatest to achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of nations the subduers set forth the varieties of all aspects. the one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teachers who guard and protect her, to you I make prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth forever noble our grace, to you the Buddha I make prostrations. Okay, page 7. And as we recite this mantra, first we will recite the meaning of the mantra first. A meaning of the mantra which reads, all phenomena arise from causes, meaning that all phenomena, particularly phenomena of miseries, which we dislike. The miseries, what we like is happiness. What we dislike is miseries. And miseries and the happiness, they are like the two sides of the balance. And as the balance of the happiness, it goes up, the balance of the miseries automatically goes down. As the balance of miseries goes up, the balance of happiness goes down. This is the nature of law of nature. Now, if you want to have the maximum happiness, what we have to do is that we have to make the balance of the miseries go down zero. To make the balance of the miseries go down zero, how to make it zero is by making the causes of the miseries zero. Making the causes of the miseries zero. And the causes of miseries, as we discussed earlier, we see that initially it was the immediate cause of all the miseries is the contaminated actions, contaminated karmas, the physical, verbal and mental actions. And these actions in turn, they are triggered by the disturbing emotions, destructive emotions within us, attachment, anger, jealousy, competitiveness and so forth. These in turn are rooted to self-grasping ignorance. In simple terms, these in turn are rooted to the ignorance and self-centered attitude. Self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. In loose sense, we can say self-referential ego. So this is what is the final cause of the miseries. If you want to make the balance of the miseries go down to zero, we have to make the ignorance zero. We have to make the ignorance zero, thus making the disturbing emotions come to zero, thus making the contaminated actions come to zero. When the actions, the causes are zero, then the results automatically will come to an end. For example, say the poisonous trees, a poisonous tree, however millions of poisonous leaves there are, if you cut the root, however millions of the poisonous leaves there are, they will all dry automatically. So likewise, all the millions and trillions of miseries that we are going through, like the waves of miseries, they will come to an end if we are able to bring an end to the cause of the miseries. So it says, all phenomena, particularly the phenomena of miseries, they arise from their respective causes. So we have to know this first. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. What these causes are, what are the causes of the miseries? Contaminated karmas, afflictive emotions, and the ignorance. This chain of the chain of the causes is what is indicated by the Tathagata, the enlightened one who was born on this day today. The Tathagata, the cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Now, how to bring an end, how to bring a cessation, cease, how to let it cease, how to bring an end to these causes of the suffering is also taught by the great seer. Great seer meaning the enlightened one, the Buddha Shakyamuni. So how, knowing that all these miseries, they boil down to the ignorance. And ignorance is like darkness. In dark, you don't know what is around you. With ignorance, you don't know the reality. So ignorance very well reflects what the darkness is. So in order to eliminate darkness, it is only through introducing the light. It is only through introducing the light of the wisdom that the darkness of ignorance can be eliminated. So the light of wisdom has to be introduced. Now, the question is, the light of the wisdom. The light of wisdom, we see now, from this now we are getting clue that what is dearest to the Buddha's heart. See what we can do to make this, what is dearest to the Buddha's heart, come true today through our own actions. One thing which makes the Buddha, one thing so close to the Buddha's heart, dearest to the Buddha's heart, is the wisdom. The wisdom. Because with the wisdom, then the darkness of ignorance is eliminated, and the miseries the beings are going through automatically come to an end. So wisdom plays a very important role. Wisdom is one thing which is so close to the Buddha's heart. One. Now this wisdom is like a torch. It's like a torch. If you have a small torch, and if you want to enjoy the beautiful garden, huge beautiful garden, Mughal garden, with the president's, at the president's palace. If you want to enjoy this Mughal garden with a tiny torch in the midnight where there's no power cut, then you cannot enjoy the garden. At the most, you can enjoy one flower. One flower is never a garden. You're enjoying a flower, not a garden. If you want to enjoy a garden, you have to wait till the next day when the sun shines. What is the difference between the sun and this torch? With this torch, it's confined to one flower, and the sun permeates to every atom, every flower of the garden. This is the difference. So what makes this wisdom spread like the sun is the compassion, unconditional compassion towards others. So this unconditional compassion, it does not wait to know who you are. It simply spreads like the sun spreading to all the flowers, not asking what flower are you, right? So likewise, the compassion will make your wisdom to thrive, make to spread, proliferate in the minds of all dear sentient beings. So the wisdom is one thing, and the unconditional love is number two. Combined together makes you like a sun and makes you enjoy the whole garden of the sentient beings. So the cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. What is that cessation? Cessation is coming to an end of the causal miseries. That happens through wisdom and the unconditional love. So these two things are the things that can possibly exist in this universe, which are closest to the Buddha's heart. If we can accomplish, if we can do something to trigger, activate these two things within the mind stream, this is the greatest way by which to commemorate today's the day today, the anniversary of the Buddha Shakyamuni's birth, enlightenment, and Mahaparinirvana. This is the best way by which to commemorate it. Okay, so with this mind, and so this meaning is reflected in the mantra there. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum desham tadagato hyavatad desham chayo niruddha evam vati ma shramane swaha. Okay, well, let's recite this 3 times together. Meanwhile, see how much we can reflect on the meaning. So, to give a very cursory meaning, a meaning in a very cursory form, Om ye dharma, this phenomenon, hetu, cause, the cause, prabhava, arise. All these phenomena arise from the causes. Hetum desham, hetum, plural form of the causes. These causes, desham, tathagato hyavatad. Tathagato is the Tathagata, the Buddha. Hyavatad is taught. What these causes are is taught by the Tathagata. Desham chayo nirodha. These, referring to the causes. These causes. These referring to the causes. Desham chayo nirodha is the cessation. Bring an end to these causes of miseries. Nirodha. Evam is thus. Vati is said by Maha Shramanaya Soha. The cessation, how to bring an end, what is the cessation of the cause of these miseries, is taught by the great seer, great enlightened being, the Buddha Shakyamuni. This is the meaning. So with that mind, to see how much we can invoke the respective experiences, and see that this is the best way I am remembering this great enlightened being who appeared on this earth to dispel the darkness of the world, to make a world qualitatively different and harmonious and happy. Okay, and once again, imagine all your dear mother sentient beings, including 2 parents with you, and you are leading this, and everyone is happy to join you in this restoration mantra. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum desham tathagato hyavatad desham chayo nirodha evam ati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum desham tathagato hyavatad desham chayo nirodha
evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum te shantathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha.
All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. The last line of the same page. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye choda soge chonam la chanjo bardo dane gyarsoje age jinso gebe sonam ge chola benje sangye dhubarejo sangye choda soge chonam chanjo bardo dane gyarsoje age jinso gebe sonam chola benje sangye dhubarejo sangye choda soge chonam Janju Bardo Dane Kyapsoche, Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam, Dola Benjer Sangye Rubarashu. Page 8. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. So what we said thus far is well reflected in this stanza. The essence of what we should be doing, we should be doing in order to give a meaning to our life, to give a greatest meaning to our life. One. Number two, to make what is dearest to the Buddha's heart come true is 2 points. Inspired by wisdom and compassion. The two things, wisdom and compassion. These two are if we are to convey the biography of the Buddha Shakyamuni, enlightened being, in 2 words, it is compassion and a wisdom of dependent origination. Unconditional compassion and the wisdom of dependent origination. These two things, unconditional compassion towards all sentient beings and the wisdom of dependent origination. So these two things are the greatest legacies of this enlightened being, the Buddha Shakyamuni on this earth. So before him, so these two things are missing. Say the wisdom of interdependency that was totally missing, and the unconditional love, unconditional compassion towards everyone that is missing. Say some traditions, they say human beings are very important, but animals are to be eaten, right? So these kind of traditions are there, but the Buddha Shakyamuni, unlike these, the Buddha Shakyamuni says that everyone, why we should respect the human beings is because that they don't want suffering and they want happiness. Likewise, whosoever doesn't want suffering, whosoever wants happiness, that is one to be cherished, not to be ignored. So with this spirit, the Buddha Shakyamuni embraces all sentient beings without any barrier. So this is something very unique of this enlightened being. If we are to remember his biography, we have to trigger, ignite these two seeds, they say sparks in our mind, the wisdom of dependent origination and the compassion, unconditional love towards all sentient beings. Okay, so with that in mind, let's read the Sutra Remembering the Three Jewels, particularly the qualities of the Buddha Shakyamuni. And as we read the following passages, it's very important for us to remember what are the points indicated there, what the qualities indicated there, and it is not to make the Buddha happy by praising him. Oh, you're wonderful, and he becomes happy because you praise him. It's not for that purpose. The purpose is we say praises to the Buddha Shakyamuni for the following qualities that he is endowed with, and on this basis we should be mindful that these are the qualities. These are the qualities, the seed of which I also have. I also need to activate these qualities. So the Buddha would be most happy if by reading, by reflecting on the qualities the Buddha has, and then see to the corresponding seeds that I have, and wanting to getting aspired to activate these seeds within. That is what makes the Buddha Shakyamuni the most happy. So with that in mind, as we read this, see how much we have these qualities mentioned here. If we have, rejoice and see how much we can nurture them further. And if we don't have them, it doesn't matter. By being aware that these are the qualities which I'm missing, which I don't have, we need to bring them, we need to cultivate them freshly and nurture them further. Okay, with that in mind, again same thing, remember every being, all sentient beings with you, including two parents, and you are leading this. Homage to the Omniscient One, purified and consummate, victorious, virtuous and transcendent, thus gone, for-destroying, entirely perfect Buddha, full of wisdom, the blissfully preceding, the knower of the world, charioteer and subduer of beings, unsurpassable and teacher of gods and men. Such is Buddha, victorious, virtuous and transcendent. He who is thus gone exemplifies the merit which is his cause. In him no root of virtues is ever worn away. Through his manifold patience he is excellently beautiful. He is the treasure ground of merit, adorned with the tokens of enlightenment. He is graced with the flowers of marks of Buddhahood. All he does is timely and opportune, and nothing inharmonious marks the sight of him. True joy indeed he gives to those who open up their hearts to him in faith. Through the brilliance of his wisdom, he is unconfounded, and against his power there is no victory. He is the teacher of all living beings, the father of all bodhisattvas, the king of all supreme ones. He is the guide for those who journey to the city beyond afflictions. His wisdom is unbounded, his assurance is beyond imagination, his speech is altogether pure, well-tuned and sweet to hear. Gazing on him, one is never satiated. His body is beyond compare. By the realms of desire, he is unstained, and by the realm of form, he is wholly uncontaminated. He is not mingled with the formless. He is altogether free from misery and from the aggregates. He is utterly and altogether liberated. The elements have no hold on him. He has never mastery over the sense powers. All his bones are completely severed, and from all pains he is perfect and totally released. No craving does he have. He has passed beyond the stream. Perfect is his wisdom, and in the wisdom of the Buddhas past, present, and to come, he has made his dwelling. In Nirvana, where all suffering is transcended, he does not abide. His abode is on the summit of perfection, whence he perceives all living beings, such as the sublime qualities that are the greatness of the Buddha, victorious, virtuous, and transcendent. The severed doctrine is righteous in the outset, righteous in the middle, righteous in the end. In its meaning excellent, and in its words and syllables likewise. It is integral and unalloyed. It is all-sufficing, altogether pure and purifying. Well spoken is this Dharma by the victorious, virtuous, and transcendent. It is the perfect way of seeing and is devoid of flaws. It is perennial and leads us onward. To see this Dharma is to fulfill one's purpose. Wisdom all distinguishing. The Dharma spoken by the victorious, virtuous, and transcendent is shown to be well tempered to the instruction and to the needs of all. It drives one from samsara and causes one to go to perfect Buddhahood. It frees and all is summarized. It is to be relied upon totally. It is the cutting of the roots. The Sangha of the Mahayana comprises those who have well entered, wise entered with straightforwardness and aptitude. Right, it is to join one's hands before them, and right to make prostrations. They are the glorious spirit of merit. They are the perfect recipient of gifts. They are the objects of offering. Wherever always they are the objects worthy of all offering. Okay, praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfectly knowledge and in good conduct. Sugather, no other world, supreme guide to human beings, to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the complete and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer whom the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. When, O Supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you, who were voiced that I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, flame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With a supreme science face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Does feel like you, the 3 worlds are not. incompatible wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of marriage with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the one gone to thusness I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the sublime humanity intending virtue I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, I pronounce, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the four falls, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturb the waves of aging and sickness and death. Okay. Let's read page 15, Heart Sutra Mantra. For the wisdom, we are talking about the wisdom, we are talking about the unconditional love. For the wisdom of interdependency, this Heart Sutra, this is the, I would say this would be one of the greatest legacies left by the Buddha Shakyamuni for us. If we can recite this, if we can reflect on the meaning of this, this will suffice. This will greatly suffice activating the seed of wisdom that is within us. So, with this spirit, let's recite this. And as we recite this, we see that there are a number of new faces here. So, I'd like to inform you that when you recite this Heart Sutra, there are three things we are not to miss. We are not to miss the 3 points as we read this Heart Sutra. This Heart Sutra is actually sutra. Sutra has so many connotations. One, sutra in the context of the Buddha's teachings. Any teaching of the Buddha is classified as a sutra. Number two, sutra versus tantra. That is, it has another connotation that is different from the sutra in general, the context of the Buddha's teaching. Sutra versus tantra. Still, another version of the understanding of sutra is sutra in the context of the 3 baskets. Within the sutra, the sutra system, which is sutra versus tantra, within that confinement, we see that there are 3 divisions: sutra, then the abhidhamma, and the vinaya. There are 3 baskets. So we see that sutra, when you see the mention of the word sutra there, it has so many connotations. So here, Heart Sutra is the sutra in the context of the teachings in general, the Buddha's teaching in general. So this is heart meaning the essence. So it's very short, while the same content matter you will see expressed or taught in huge volumes. And what is taught there in these huge volumes, 6 volumes, 20 volumes, 11 volumes, all these, the massive, the teachings, they're all contained in this very short text. It's about like 2 or 3 pages. So this is really extremely blessed and the valuable. And for this we need to keep in mind the background. One thing we need to know is the background. There, the Buddha Shakyamuni. I'm sure that many of you went to the Vulture's Peak near Bodh Gaya, Vulture's Peak in Rajgir. So there, the Buddha Shakyamuni went there, attended the congregation, and then surrounded by all the Bodhisattvas and the lay devotees and the monks. Then the Buddha Shakyamuni immersed into meditative experience of the ultimate reality. Immersed into meditative experience. One thing which is so unique of the Buddha, anyone, each one of us, when we become Buddha, we also acquire the skill to abide in 2 different world systems, meaning the world systems of the convention and the world system of the ultimate. So we can be simultaneously. For example, for us to be in India, we cannot be in Tibet, we cannot be in Nigeria, we cannot be in Sri Lanka, right? So wherever we are, we just be in one place, we're localized. Whereas the Buddha, when you become enlightened, when you become the Buddha, then at the same time you can display yourself in innumerable world systems. So what is happening is that Buddha Shakyamuni, while immersed into this meditative experience of this wisdom, so there simultaneously he was in access of the conventional truth. So with this access, he blessed Shariputra. On one side was Shariputra, blessed Shariputra to ask questions to Aravalokteshvara, who was sitting on the other side. Then Shariputra, being blessed by the Guru Shakyamuni, he stood up and made prostrations to Guru Shakyamuni, and then turned to Avalokiteshvara and asked the question. So of the 3 points not to miss, the first thing that we need to keep in our mind is, what is the question asked by Shariputra? First point, right? So, one. Then number 2 is, Avalokiteshvara, while the Guru Shakyamuni was immersed into this meditative experience of emptiness, Avalokiteshvara, he was likewise being just lost in the reflection of the ultimate reality. Then Shariputra, when he asked the question, then Avalokiteshvara started to give the response. Then the second point not to miss is, what is the response given by Avalokiteshvara, number 2. Number 3 point not to miss is, what if we practice the way Avalokiteshvara responded? If you practice, what is the benefit? This is number 3. So for that purpose, say the first point, out of the Shariputra asked a question, the point 1 not miss, what is the question asked by Shariputra? Is that, how should the child of a lineage practice the perfection of wisdom? Meaning that, say, the child of a lineage means the lineage of the enlightened one. For example, in the olden days, the prince is considered to be a very precious prince. Why? Prince may be like 2 years old, does not know anything, just playing on the ground. And there's such a highly knowledgeable, experienced minister. Even that highly knowledgeable, experienced minister has to respect this young boy who does not know anything. Why? Because this boy is eventually become the boss of this minister. He's going to become the king. He is holding this lineage. Likewise, more than the king, the lineage of the king is the lineage of the enlightened one, lineage of the Buddhas. And we all, anyone who aspires to become Buddha, anyone who aspires to clean one's diamond like the ultimate source of happiness within you, we become the lineage holders of this Buddha lineage. So that way, Buddha lineage is much more precious, much more valuable than the king's lineage. So everyone who aspires, if you want to really become someone special, it is by becoming part of the Buddha's lineage or becoming the lineage of the enlightened one. So how to do that is by aspiring to become fully enlightened yourself to benefit all sentient beings. Then you become the holder of the greatest lineage, the lineage of the enlightened ones. So the question is, how should those people who aspire to become enlightened, they should practice the wisdom of emptiness in order to remove the darkness of the ignorance. How should that be done? This is question 1. So this you can see through, say, page 15, second para, page 15. This first point we will not miss. Then through the path of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Master of Avalokiteshvara. How should any child of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? This is the first point we will not miss. Point number 2 not miss is, what is the response given by Avalokiteshvara? Avalokiteshvara, then he responded as to how to dispel this darkness of ignorance. How to practice this perfection of wisdom in order to dispel the darkness of ignorance. How to practice this is by encouraging the beings to see everything is like a dream. If you don't want to go through the nightmare of the dream, what should you do? Wake up. If you don't want to go through the nightmare, the fears of the nightmare of the dream, what should we do? Wake up. Just wake up. Wake up and the nightmare will stop. Likewise, if you don't want to go through the nightmare of samsara, what should we do? Wake up from the sleep of ignorance. So, the Avalokiteshvara, he started to explain as to how to wake up from the sleep of ignorance, how to see everything is like a dream, right? Only if you know that when do you identify you are dreaming? When you are in the dream or when you're outside the dream? Only when you wake up, then you realize that you were dreaming. In the dream, when you are submerged in the dream, while the dream is happening, you are unaware that you are dreaming. You think that this is real. So, when will you be aware that it's dreaming, that you are dreaming? When? Only when you wake up. So, Shariputra, Avalokiteshvara, he responded by saying that those who are in the lineage, those children of the lineage, how should they practice the wisdom of emptiness? Wisdom of emptiness is through waking up from the sleep of ignorance by identifying that everything is like a dream, right? So then he went into detail. Okay, so let's turn to the last paragraph, page 15, which is the point number 2. What is the response given by Aravalokiteshvara? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra, Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfect wisdom should look upon like this, correctly and repeatedly, beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Empty of inherent nature means everything, nothing is really there from the object. They are all like dream, empty of inherent nature. It doesn't mean that nothing exists. This is a distinction that we have to make. Of course, we don't have time to go through this, but the thing is that he's not saying that nothing exists. What he's saying that way things appear, way things exist is very different. Things don't exist the way they appear to us. For example, in the common expression, English expression, the beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, which means that what is actually there, whether it's beautiful, whether it's attractive, unattractive, there's nothing, but it depends on the observer's mind, right? So the observer's mind decides what the object is. So this is exactly what Shariputra is saying, that how we see things and how things really exist, these two are contradictory. There's a stark contrast between the two. Okay, so with this, Shariputra was then explaining as to how, one, how you are like dream. Then, how the 5 aggregates that you have, they are like dream. Then, the whole world with which you interact, the whole world of the 5 objects, the whole world of the 5 subjects, whole world of the 5 sense powers which connect the subject to the object, making 18 elements, 6 objects, 6 subjects, and the sense powers. So all these 18 elements like dream. And how we perpetuate into this samsara, how we use the cycle in the samsara, in such a vicious cycle of samsara, so how that in the form of 12 links, they are all dreamlike. So, and then how we can possibly come out of samsara by reversing this in the form of the 4 noble truths. First noble truth, first 2 noble truths, how we revolve in samsara, and the last 2 truths, how we come out of samsara, truth of the cessation of suffering, and truth of the path leading to cessation, how we can possibly come out, even how all these things are dreamlike. So once you discover that goodness, good things, bad things, everything is like dream, you reach to the level of the transcendence of the happiness, the mundane happiness, and the transcendental happiness. Then you reach the transcendental happiness. This is how he taught us how to reach to the level of the transcendental happiness. This is point number 2. Now point number 3, if you practice the way Aravalokiteshvara indicated, what is the benefit? The benefit he indicated is that once we see that everything is like dream, just as when you wake up from the dream, you realize it was dream, all the nightmare stops. Likewise, when you wake up from the dream of the ignorance, the fears, the nightmare of samsara stops. All your fears will come to an end. 1. This experience of seeing everything is like dream, this experience of bringing an end to the fears of life, this is the entrance through which all the past enlightened beings, all the enlightened beings of today, all the enlightened beings of the future, they will traverse along this gate. This gate alone is the entrance through which all these enlightened beings will go towards the transcendental happiness. So this is what is being explained there, the 3 points of miss. With that in mind, let's recite this together. This is so auspicious. His Holiness the Dalai Lama today, I'm very sure, usually it so happens that on the 15th day of the 4th month of the Tibetan lunar calendar, the 15th day, His Holiness always gives teachings in Dharamsala main temple, in order to commemorate these great enlightened beings, the Buddha Shakyamunis, the enlightened deeds, and to bring to the awareness, to trigger the sense of the purpose of the Buddha Shakyamunis come on this earth. In order for that purpose, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, every year, if he's there in Dharamsala, he always makes it a point to give teachings there on this day. So we are doing something of what His Holiness is doing there. We are trying to come together not in the form of unilateral giving teachings, but in the form of coming together and trying to see how we can help each other to trigger this seed of the Buddhahood or enlightenment within us. Okay, with that in mind, let's recite this day together, and all beings with you, and you are leading this. I prostrate to the utter truth of Zen. Thus did I hear at one time the Bhagavan was dwelling on Mount Vulture's mountain in Rajgriha together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound illumination. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arabadupateshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound illumination of wisdom also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arabadupateshvara: how should any child of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arabadupateshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly, beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composite factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unseen, stainless, not without sin, not division, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composite factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element, no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering or origination cessation path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, also no non-attainment. Therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration, that without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhas that dwell in the three times also manifestly, completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that totally pacifies all suffering should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared: Tyatha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhiswaha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commanded the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arabadupateshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have indicated, even that the Tathagatas rejoice, the Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arabadupateshvara, those surrounding the entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised as spoken by the Bhagavan. Okay, as we recite this mantra in tune, again, reflect thus, that the literal meaning of the mantra is Tyatha, means here is thus. Gati Om, Tyatha Om. Om is a syllable which is consisted of three letters, A, U, Ma, and these three letters, they symbolize the body, spiritual mind of us, the defiled body, spiritual mind of us, and the undefiled, pure body, spiritual mind of the enlightened beings. So as this mantra is said, Om, we have to visualize, we have to be recalling that the undefiled, the defiled body, spiritual mind that I have should be transformed into the undefiled body, spiritual mind of the enlightened beings. So this is what we should be keep in mind. So if we do that, that is fulfilling the Buddha's intention. Now the next question is, how can we do this? So this has to be done in steps. So the defilement is the mental dirts. So cleansing the mental defilements and transforming it, the body, speech, mind, into the undefiled Buddha's body, speech, mind, it has to be done by resorting to the remedies. And the remedies twofold: the wisdom of emptiness, the wisdom of interdependency, and wisdom interdependency to dispel the darkness of ignorance, and this adhicharya mind, the mind of bodhicitta, to dispel this self-centered attitude. So with this, then we can go through this journey. This journey, gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhiswaha. Literally, it means go beyond, go utterly beyond, and establish your enlightenment. So this is the literal meaning, which means that it's an internal journey. It is not external journey, go. It's not external journey, it's an internal journey. It's an internal journey of cleansing the mind. Keep going to cleanse your mind to the level of the perfection where your mind becomes as clean as the Buddha's mind. So this is the journey. For this journey, we see the need of the wisdom, we see the need of the compassion. Why? One, because that this journey means is the journey, which is the journey of cleansing the mind of the defilements, and knowing that the defilements, they are rooted to the ignorance. It is only through introducing the light of the wisdom. So the wisdom plays a very important role to make sure that the cleansing, the remedies there to cleanse the mind. One. Number two, you may have the medicines. If you are suffering from tuberculosis, you may have the medicines, and the medicines may be lying on the table, and then you will say that I will have them tomorrow. And tomorrow comes, you will say again, I'll have them tomorrow. You will never have the medicines. So there must be a desire, passion to take the medicines so that your problems are over. This passion should be there, right? So likewise, the wisdom of emptiness is like the medicine, and there must be a passion to use this wisdom to cleanse the mind and to become enlightened and to benefit all sentient beings by becoming like the sun. This passion should be there. This passion is the passion of the unconditional love. So this journey, gate, parasamgate, bodhiswaha. So this is a reminder for us that I should not remain static. I should not remain miserable all the time like this. I should keep improving myself. I should follow this journey, internal journey of gate, parasamgate, bodhiswaha. While you follow this journey, why not we also bring all other sentient beings along with you towards this journey, into this journey towards enlightenment. With that in mind, we are reciting this 7 times. Okay.
Om gati gati aragati arasamgati bodhiswaha
Page 18. by the teachings of the three supreme jewels, possessing the power of truth, may inner and outer hindrances be transformed, may they be dispelled, may they be non-existent, may they be pacified, may all negative forces opposed to the Dharma be completely pacified, may the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified, may we be separated from problems and conditions harmful to the Dharma, may all enjoyments be in accord with the Dharma, may auspiciousness and perfect happiness pervade this place now. Okay, page 19, 8 verse of mind training. 8 verse of mind training is for the unconditional love. So the Heart Sutra is for the wisdom of interdependency, and 8 verse of mind training is for the unconditional love, to trigger the seed of unconditional love. And we see that the what forbids us from experiencing unconditional love towards others is the self-referential ego, self-centered attitude. This self-centered attitude, or in other words, say the other cherished mind which embraces all others unconditionally, other cherished mind, enemy of this unconditional love is the anger, and likewise the enemy of this unconditional love is the self-referential ego. So we see that as long as we have this self-referential ego, we become an easily irritable person, easily the agitated person, and there's no peace of mind. You're always restless and you are always disturbed. Then on the other hand, if the self-centered, self-referential ego, opposite to that is the unconditional love for others, affectionate love towards others, the more you have that, the person is more calm, at peace. The more calm the person is, the immune system is much stronger. With a great immune system, you have the physiology-wise, physiologically speaking, we see that the person is much more at sound. Okay, so with this we see that the self-referential ego is the one which destroys the unconditional love, which forbids you to become like a sun to illuminate the entire universe. So we have that capacity to become like, say, Mahatma Gandhi, to become like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, to become like Jesus Christ, and so forth. But why we are not like them is because the self-referential ego, this is one which forbids us from experiencing this expansive sense of courage, love, affection, so forth. And the self-referential ego, so that brings the destruction of ourselves, and the unconditional love towards others is the one which brings all happiness to oneself and all others. So now this 8 verse mind training is primarily is a very skillful means to subdue our self-referential ego and boost our self-confidence. In other words, there are two things: self-referential ego versus the self-confidence. While the ego is to be subdued, self-confidence is not to be compromised. Self-confidence is so precious, But it doesn't mean that when you're self-confident, ego is should be encouraged. This is not the case. Oftentimes, how we can demarcate the person from the evolved person to an ordinary person, how can demarcate that? Very simple. Just see how much the person can distinguish the two things: ego and self-confidence, right? The more, say, this is my left side, I do a graph, say, from 0 to 100, so from 0 to 100. So this is 0 is, say, for example, say the ego, and the 100 is the Adhyasya mind, unconditional love, right? So as we go away from this 0, you're going towards the unconditional love. As you go closer towards the 0, you're going towards the ego. You're getting it? So we see that the ego, if somebody sees the ego and the self-confidence to mean the same, which means a person is very, very ordinary, very basic, and this person is prone to suffer a lot. Whereas, more the person sees the distinction between the two, ego and self-confidence, more the person sees the distinction between the two and subdue the ego and boost self-confidence, that person is a noble person. That person is an evolved person. So oftentimes, people around you, someone who can distinguish the two things and subdue the ego and boost self-confidence, that person is greatly, greatly loved by other people. For example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. You wouldn't believe. He is of such a world stature. And oftentimes, people of that world stature, if you're with him or if you're with her, you will feel, instantly you feel that you're so inferior. Instantly you feel so inferior. And you just feel like shrinking. Whereas you be with him, you sit with him, you feel that you are an equally important person. Because he will make you feel that. Because he has this love and affection towards us. So there, he's able to reach that level of the stature because of the self-confidence. Yet, he can make you feel equally very important when you are sitting next to him because of he has subdued his ego. Right? Oftentimes, people, when they're very unsuccessful, their ego is so low and self-confidence also very low. When they become a little more successful, their self-confidence shoots up and ego also shoots up. Right? This is a problem. Now, say there's an expression. If you want to know who the other person is, give power in that person's hand. When you give power, when the person starts to abuse the power, which means the confidence builds up and the ego also builds up, and this ego will start abusing the power. Right? So the point is that with this 8 mind training, we have to learn how to, first of all, distinguish the two things, ego and the self-confidence. Distinguish two things and subdue the ego, but not subdue self-confidence. Instead, boost self-confidence. Self-confidence is so important, right? Self-confidence is the basis of your success, and ego is the basis of your destruction.
Can I ask you something? Can I ask you? What is the middle way between ego and self-confidence?
So ego, the difference between ego and self-confidence, ego is rooted to the selfishness. I. I want to have this, I want to have this, I want to have this. And self-confidence that I want to have this for others. More you expand this to others, it becomes self-confidence, right? Okay, with this, it was mind training. Oftentimes you may see that there are things which are there, which I may not really be able to do it. But in actuality, what is there is a skillful ways by which to kill our not self-confidence, but to kill the ego. Okay, with this, let's read these together and see how much we can invoke the respective experiences. With the determination to achieve the highest aim, for the benefit of all sentient beings, which surpasses even the wish-fulfilling gem, may I hold them dear for their old times. Whenever I interact with someone, may I view myself as the lowest amongst all, and from the very depths of my heart, respectfully hold others as superior. In all my deeds, may I probe into my mind, and as soon as mental and emotional afflictions arise, as they endanger myself and others, may I strongly confront them and avert them. When I see beings of unpleasant character, oppressed by strong negativity and suffering, may I hold them dear, for they are rare to find, as if I have discovered a true treasure. When others out of jealousy treat me wrongly with abuse, slander, and scorn, may I take upon myself the defeat and offer to others the victory. When someone whom I have helped or on whom I have placed great hopes mistreats me in extremely hurtful ways, may I regard him still as my precious teacher. In prayers, may I offer benefit and joy to all mothers, both directly and indirectly. May I quietly take upon myself all hurts and pains of my mothers. May all these remain undefiled by the stains of the mundane concerns, and may I recognize all things as illusions, be released from bondage. And particularly the next stanza is to boost our self-confidence. From my two collections, vast space that I've amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom has blinded by ignorance. Okay, the next page, 22. So since that, what we're going to do today as the very auspicious, taking the aspirational Bodhisattva vow, and some of you may be wondering that, how can I take the aspirational vow? Vow something very serious. I should really think twice. Okay, so this is where we don't have to be nervous. We don't have to be panicky. Say this vow is a very beautiful vow. At the same time, this is exactly what we want. Exactly what you want. We want the greatest benefit without responsibilities. Right? This is what we want. Right? So this is exactly what it is for. So this reaps us the maximum benefit, and we have no responsibility at all. We don't have to abide by any specific rules and regulations. The vows means usually you should be observing some rules, regulations, so forth. You are confined by rules and regulations. No, nothing of that kind. Only rule that we have to follow is that to the best I can, even that is compromised, to the best I can. To the best I can, I will not harm others. To the best I can, I will help others. Right? As simple as that. Okay, with this is the kind of vow that we are taking. And the Buddha Shakyamuni. So no doubt, what we perceive as the Buddha Shakyamuni, having assumed Mahaparinirvana in the eyes of ordinary people, in the understanding of the ordinary people, Mahaparinirvana means that the demise, the death of the person. But for the Buddhas, for the enlightened beings, there is no death. Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Why we are not then seeing the Buddha is all because of the heavy karmic obscurations that we have. Heavy karmic obscurations that we have, that we could not see him. Right? Or otherwise, say should it be the case that by each one of us, our practice of what we could do now, taking the aspiration bodhisattva vow, by practicing very seriously, right, it helps us cleanse the mental defilements a lot, and by practicing the wisdom of emptiness, then the Gade happens. Gade happens when you reach to a certain level of the Gade, Paragate, when you reach a certain level, then the cleansing happens to a great extent that the karmic obscuration which obscures us from seeing this enlightened being is removed, and because of which we can have a direct vision of the enlightened being, right? Okay, and there are many more accounts, for example, say the image of the Buddha Shakyamuni here. So if our karmic obscuration, karmic debt is really cleansed, then even these, what we see as the paintings, what we see as the statues, they will directly give you teachings, right? The Buddhas will manifest just out of this painting, out of this statue, and give you direct teachings. So the Buddha is never dead. In other words, what we see as, what we, in the eyes of the ordinary people, what we see as Mahaparinirvana, demise, the leaving of the world, this is not, in actuality, is not true. So in fact, this is just a mere display, and actually she's there. So what I'm saying is that what we are doing, taking this aspiration bodhisattva vow, if there is one thing which will make the Buddha the happiest, is our observing this, or our undertaking this aspiration bodhisattva vow ceremony. When we undertake this, this is the one thing that will make him the happiest. Okay, so with this, because that this is a very important journey and a very important commitment or the vow, it must be supported by what is known as the 7 puja. There are 7 things. 7 things. What is that? First one is making prostrations mentally. We imagine that we make prostrations, all the enlightened beings, particularly Buddha Shakyamuni, and imagine that your parents and all sentient beings are with you. 1. Number two is the making offerings. Imagine you are making offering of the very delicious delicacies, the very fresh fruits, flowers, incense, all this. Just imagine you are making the best of the offerings that you can imagine to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Number 2. Okay, while I'm saying, okay, yes. And number 3 is confessing the negativities. So all the negativities which we did, they make the enlightened beings feel sad. So now we say that, for example, a child made some mistakes, and then the mother is so sad, and the child, because the child loves the mother so much, and the child tells the mother, "Mother, please don't worry, I will not repeat this anymore. I make the commitment that I will not repeat this anymore." And imagine how happy the mother will be to see that you rectify yourself, that you're not going to relapse to this problem anymore. So this is one thing we're going to do, the confessing the negativities. The next one is rejoicing in the virtues of others, rejoicing. And one thing, if you want to accumulate merit, we see that, for example, say there are 20 million human beings on this in Delhi, but how many of them are under AC this moment, particularly when it shoots up to 47 degrees centigrade? How many people have the facility to be in the AC hall, AC room. How many? So less number. And then out of 1 billion human beings in Delhi, in India, and 7 billion human beings on this earth, how many people have that facilities? The fact that we have these facilities is all because of our previous karma, previous merits. So the merits are responsible for giving rise to happy states for us. And the best way by which the maximum of the happiness, the greatest of happiness, is the enlightenment. And for the greatest of happiness, we need to have the greatest of the merit accumulation. We have to accumulate the merit. It's not that we are the lucky one, we are born, we are the chosen ones. No. It's that we must have accumulated merit to experience this, say, cool air, despite being in a place where it shoots up to 47 degrees centigrade. So we must accumulate enormous merit. Now, for the enlightenment is much, much nobler than the just experiencing school breeze today. Right? Because which the merit that is required to be accumulated should be much more. And the best way by which to accumulate merit so efficiently, with least expense, is rejoicing in the virtues and the merits of others. Instead of feeling jealousy, instead of feeling jealous, you rejoice in the virtues of the enlightened beings, of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. You rejoice in the merits of the other people who are engaged in virtues, instead of feeling the jealous of others' merits. So that is the rejoicing. The next one is requesting the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to always continue to give teachings. Because teaching is to teach the light of the wisdom, to dispel the darkness of ignorance. So teaching becomes a very important teaching. The next one is requesting the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to always remain with the sentient beings. The parent, the children, the young children, they always want their parents to be with them. Likewise, we request all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who are like our parents to always be with us, never to leave the beings of samsara. Always be with us and to take us towards enlightenment. This is the next. The final point is the dedication. All the merits that we have accumulated, we dedicate that we accomplish the aspiration of the Buddha, which is to trigger the seed of compassion, to trigger the wisdom of emptiness within oneself and within others, and that this teaching on wisdom of emptiness, the teaching on the unconditional love, spreads everywhere. So this is the dedication. So this is what we're going to do. So this is a preparation for us to go into this, to undertake this ceremony of the taking aspiration Bodhisattva vow. With that in mind, let's read page 22. As we read this, the meanings are pretty clear there. The meanings are very clear there. So try to invoke the experiences to the best we can. I bow down to the youthful Arya Manjushri, you lions amongst humans, gone to freedom in the pure present, past and future. In the worlds of the 10 directions, to all of you with body, speech and sincere mind, I bow down. With the energy of aspiration for the Bodhisattva way, with a sense of deep respect and with as many bodies as atoms of the world, to all of you, the Buddhas visualized as real, I bow down. On every atom of Buddhas, numberless as atoms, each amidst a host of Bodhisattvas. And I'm confident in the sphere of all phenomena is entirely filled with the Buddhas in this way. I sing the breathtaking excellence of Buddhas and celebrate all of you gone to bliss. Beautiful flowers and regal garlands, sweet music, scented oils and parasols, sparkling lights and sublime incense, I offer it to you, victorious ones. Fine dress and fragrant perfumes, sandalwood powder heaped high as Mount Meru. All wondrous offerings in spectacular array I offer to you, victorious ones. With transcendental offerings, peerless and vast, with profound admiration for all the Buddhas, with strength of conviction in the Bodhisattva way, I offer and bow down to all the victorious ones. Every harmful action I've done, with my body, speech and mind, overwhelmed by attachment, anger and confusion, all is open and lay bare before you. I lift up my heart and rejoice in all the merit of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in 10 directions, of solitary realizers, hearers still training, and those beyond, and of all ordinary beings. You who are the bright lights of the worlds in 10 directions, who have attained the Buddha's omniscience through the stages of awakening, you all who are my guides, please turn the supreme will of Dharma. Turn the supreme will of Dharma means give teachings. With palms together, I earnestly request you who may actualize parinirvana, please stay with us for aeons, numberless atoms of the world, for the happiness and well-being of all the wanderers in samsara. Whatever slight merit I may have created by praying homage, offering and acknowledging my faults, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddha stay and teach, I now dedicate all this for the full awakening of all beings. Okay. Okay, let's turn to page 26, short mantra offering. This is more like the summary of what we did thus far. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this is a Buddha filled and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. Okay, we'll sing this, the same stanza in Tibetan with a tune. Imagine that you're offering everything, the best that you can imagine, to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, to seek them, to seek their blessings, to seek their, to request them to be witness to what we are doing today. Take it as my Bodhisattva vow. With that in mind. O So these two sets of the four dharmas of Venerable Gambapa and the four dharmas of Venerable Bhikshu Mahasaya, both are extremely important. Okay, let's recite them. May I be blessed that my mind is directed towards the Dharma. May I be blessed that my Dharma practice is on the proper path. May I be blessed that path is free of flaws. May I be blessed that the flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. Becoming frustrated with ignorance that grasps at true existence, please bless me to generate genuine renunciation, seeing all aspects of samsara as viciously repulsive. Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the precious bodhicitta that cherishes others more than myself. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom of emptiness that does not see even an atom of intrinsic reality on the basis of understanding how things come into being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the precious wisdom of the non-duality of bliss and emptiness. Edam Guru Ratnam Lagam Nirati Amen. Okay, so now what we do is that as a part of the actual ceremony for the undertaking aspiration Bodhisattva vow, we will do 5 minutes breathing meditation. 5 minutes breathing meditation. Are you ready? Should there be some of you who are not familiar with meditation, I'm going to give a quick meditation instruction, a very simple meditation instruction, a meditation on the breath. And those of you who are familiar with your any form of meditation, just do a meditation or whatever meditation that you like to do. Whereas for those of us who are beginners, I'll give a quick instruction. A very basic meditation, but very helpful in ways of, say, one, to distress yourself. This is very simple. One is very simple, but it's very effective in distressing yourself after long hours of your studies, after long hours of your job, and so forth. So this is a good way of relaxing yourself and again to build a part of concentration in your studies, build a part of concentration in your work, and so forth. Okay, so this meditation is consisted of 4 parts: the body posture, focal point, identifying the errors of meditation, and then finally applying the remedies to overcome the errors. 4 points. 1, the body posture. For the body posture, you sit upright, if possible, cross-legged, then body upright. Why do you keep your body upright? But the body must be flexible, it should not be stiff, it should not be rigid, and your head should be tilted forward a little bit, and your eyes not closed, eyes half open. Oftentimes there are some traditions, there are some teachers who may advise you to practice meditation with eyes closed, but if you're a beginner, it's always advisable to do with meditations with eyes open. But if you've been doing meditation with eyes closed, it is not wrong, but what I would suggest is that learn both the skills, so that will be very helpful to you. With eyes half open and 45 degrees cast down. And the tip of the tongue should touch the upper palate. To avoid excessive accumulation of saliva in your mouth during the meditation. And keep your teeth and lips in the natural course. Breathe naturally. Don't impose on your breath. Don't force your breath. Don't control your breath. And your right hand on your left hand, the tips of the two thumbs joining, forming a triangle, and place the two hands on your laps in a restful state. This is your body position, body posture. Number 2 is focal point. Focal point is you visualize a tiny dot, tiny white dot with 1 mm or 2 mm in diameter. So this tiny dot you visualize between your nose and the upper lip. So this is what you should be visualizing, and your eyes should not be looking at it. Looking at it. If somebody scratches you from behind, your eyes are not looking at it, but you could feel it. So it is not your eye consciousness which is seeing this, but your mental consciousness which is seeing this. Likewise, this white dot we're visualizing is what your eyes are not supposed to be looking at. It should be your mental consciousness which is observing it. Now, as you visualize this white dot between your nose and the upper lip, multitasking. You count your breath. Breath in, breath out, cycle 1. Breath in, breath out, cycle 2. This is how we're going to do for, say, 5 minutes. Right? Okay, this is the focal point. Number 3 is identifying the errors of meditation. For the meditation, oftentimes there are 2 errors. One is mental excitement, and the other one is mental laxity. Mental excitement is where your mind cannot sit on the focal point. It gets distracted here and there. That is known as mental excitement. This is one of the errors. And the other one is the opposite of that, where your mind becomes so lax. Excitement is the overactivity, and mental laxity is below activity. It becomes so passive. So your mind becomes passive, you feel lethargic, you feel heavy, you feel sleepy, you feel sloppy, and then you feel inserviceable. That is mental laxity. So these are the 2 errors of meditation. Should any of these 2 errors, we should go for the fourth one. Fourth one is applying the remedies to overcome the errors. And the remedies to be applied, there are 2. Introspection and mindfulness. Introspection is like, say, if you have a pet dog, and if you lost the pet dog, what do? You go in search of the pet dog till you find the pet dog. Likewise, your mind is like the pet dog, and when it does not sit on the focal point, instead it gets distracted or in the relaxed state, then you have to go in search of this mind to see whether the mind is sitting on the focal point or it is distracted or in the relaxed state. Once you see that it is distracted or in the relaxed state, then you apply the remedy of the mindfulness. For example, when you find the dog, the job of the introspection is done. Next, the job of the rope. Tie the dog with the rope and bring it home and tie it to the pillar at the home. Likewise, when you see that your mind is already distracted, the job of your introspection is done. Now you apply the rope of the mindfulness, bring the mind back to the intended object of meditation. Okay, these are 4 points, not a miss, as we do the meditation. 5 minutes, ready? Okay, thank you. Next we will do the, as I said earlier, as in the stanza which says, enthused by wisdom and compassion. Enthused by wisdom and compassion, you taught immaculate Dharma. Okay, the other one was. Okay, inspired by wisdom and compassion. Today in the Buddha's presence, page 8, it reads, I'm just reading it. It says, inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the wonderful awakening for the benefit sentient beings. So we see that the mention of the two things, wisdom and compassion. So what we do is that as a part of taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, the first we will cultivate the compassion, unconditional compassion, followed by the wisdom, and then we'll take the actual vow. Okay, so for the compassion part, as a precursor to this, we already did the single point of meditation, shamatha meditation. Now we're doing the compassion part. For the compassion part, okay, let's sit properly in the proper position, and it's more like a guided meditation. And your job is how effective this, and now no doubt each one of us come here on this very auspicious day. The auspicious day helps to enhance our practice, number one. Number two, your aspiration, your enthusiasm, feeling the value of this, feeling the preciousness, the holiness of this day, that will also boost our practice here. And then the actual practice, which is the closer, which is what is dearest to the heart of the Buddha Shakyamuni. So we see that with all these factors together, the practice of compassion that we're going to do is going to be effective. Now, if you want to give a greater boost to this, see how much we can invoke the respective experiences to the best we can by following the instructions, by invoking the experiences as so alive to the best we can. So this is what we should be doing. With that in mind, okay, sit in a proper meditative posture, position, sit upright, and visualize the Buddha Shakyamuni in front of us, so loving, so caring, and with such a tender love and affection towards you, and surrounded by His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas around him. Everyone, all these enlightened beings, are so loving, so caring, that they are to give full love, affection, attention, and embrace. And the Buddhas of the field, you are surrounded by two kind parents and all the family members, and everyone in India, everyone in the entire universe, including human beings, animals, insects, and all beings, all creatures who wish for happiness and who shuns miseries. And the practice that we're going to do now is precisely to activate the seed of compassion. So with that in mind, we'll do this practice of enhancing compassion with the help of the four immeasurables, practice of four immeasurables. And this is a purely guided meditation. You must be able to follow the instructions and see how much you can invoke your experiences as alive as possible to make the most out of this, the practice. Your first immeasurable, loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear Mother sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all my dear Mother sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. I will take the responsibility that all my dear Mother sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The causes of happiness primarily consisting of the unconditional love towards all sentient beings and the wisdom to see everything is dependently originated. The Buddhist Bodhisattvas witnessing that we are making such a courageous commitment Like a mother for the first time after all these many years of hardships, raising the children. Now today, on this day, the eldest daughter, eldest son, makes a promise to the mother. Mother, please take rest. You have done everything for us till now. You have put all your efforts, you have worked so hard. Now I'm already grown up. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of all my siblings. You don't worry. Please take rest. Imagine if this is what your mother hears for the first time after all these many years of hardships, worrying about you, worrying about the other siblings. What a joy, what an unbelievable joy the mother feels. She could not believe her eyes. She could not believe her ears of what she is hearing today. This is exactly what is doing here, what is happening here. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in disbelief, they are so happy, they are so proud of what you are doing today. The commitment that you made to take the responsibility of letting the beings be endowed with happiness and cause of happiness. And you witnessing, and because of this, the enlightened, the compassionate mind of the Buddha's wisdom and the unconditional love for others, the two are invoked, and the nectars and very soothing lights are sent forth to all the demon sentient beings from the Buddha's heart, and the mere touch of the lights and nectars with the bodies of yours instills in all happiness and the cause of happiness in the minds of sentient beings. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to us all the demon sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Next, immeasurable compassion. How good would it be that all my dear mother sentient beings are freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. The cause of suffering primarily consisting of self-grasping ignorance and a self-centered attitude. May all my dear mother sentient beings be freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. I will take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing that you are making such a courageous commitment, they intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invokes their compassionate, omniscient minds to send forth nectars and very soothing lights towards you and all dear mother sentient beings. The mere touch of the lights and the nectars with the bodies of beings yours washes away all the miseries and the cause of miseries. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to us all the demon sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Next, immeasurable joy. How good would it be that all my dear mother sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they are endowed with. I will take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they are endowed with. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing that you make such a courageous commitment, they are intensely happy and proud of you, and this pride and happiness invokes their compassionate, omniscient minds to send forth nectars and very soothing lights towards you and all dear sentient beings. The mere touch of the lights and the nectars with the body speaks to yours stabilizes all the happiness and the causes of happiness that the beings are endowed with. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to us all the dear sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Next, immeasurable equanimity. How good would it be that all my dear mother sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. May all my dear mother sentient beings be freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. I will take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others, and instead abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all of the dear mother sentient beings, leaving none aside. The Buddhists and Bodhisattvas, witnessing that you have made such a courageous commitment, they intensely have been proud of you, and this pride and happiness evokes the compassionate omniscient minds to send forth nectars and very soothing lights towards you and all dear mother sentient beings. The mere touch of the lights and nectars with the body speaks of yours frees the beings from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others, and instead abide, making them abide in the state of great equanimity, embracing all of the dear mother sentient beings, leaving none aside. You witnessing such a miracle is happening to us all, dear mother sentient beings. You are intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Underlying all the 4 immeasurables is the unconditional love towards all dear mother sentient beings. Abide is unconditional love towards all beings. Imagine that you are penetrating through the eyes of each and every dear mother sentient being, reassuring them that I'm there to take care of you. Why should you worry? I'm there. And to the extent that each one of them feels themselves as so special in the eyes. Imagine how a stray dog, a stray cat, or a bird, when it feels that there's no one to take care of, and suddenly you come there, you give such a reassurance, you pet the dog, you pet the cat, you pet the bird, out of love, genuine love. What is the response coming from there? They feel so happy, they feel so special in your eyes. They feel themselves as so special in your eyes. This is exactly what is happening now. That everyone, all the dear mother sentient beings, they feel so special, they feel themselves as so special in your eyes because of this unconditional love that we're cultivating now. With this spirit, with folded hands, we'll make the commitment of bodhicitta. I'll say a line of the commitment, and then we'll all say this together 3 times. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. Abide in this courageous mind, this most beautiful mind of enlightenment, this most beautiful mind of the bodhicitta. This is most precious. This is most precious treasure that you can ever imagine now happening in your mind. Visualize, imagine that this beautiful mind bodhicitta that we've cultivated now transforms into a spotlessly clean white moon disk at your heart. 1 inch in diameter, horizontally sitting in your heart. It's amazing that you made such a courageous commitment of becoming Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, becoming enlightened for the benefit of all sentient beings, making this treasure of enlightenment, making this treasure of the diamond within you to become manifest completely is amazing. But next question. So far you have not actualized this Buddhahood. What guarantees that you have the potential to become enlightened? And how can you know that you can actually manifest this treasure within you. Yes, there is the Buddha nature, there is the ultimate seed of perfection within each one of the beings. I also have that. That is a guarantee. So like the sunflower seed, when squeezed, oil comes out of that. Like a handful of sand, when squeezed, no oil comes out of that. It's because sunflower seeds, they have the oil inside. Likewise, in my case, I have this diamond-like seed of perfection within myself. But then, why is it not activated thus far? This is a question. Answer is very simple. Thus far, I was so deceived by the two demons within myself. The two demons, self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. These two demons, they obscure this diamond, incredible precious diamond of the diamond of the Buddhahood within me. They obscure these two. Now I'm disillusioned. Now I'm disillusioned by these two demons. I will not at all give in to these two demons. They are no more my friends. They are my enemies. I will discard these two things and let this Buddha nature become manifest. I'll become Buddha. I'll become fully enlightened being to benefit all sentient beings. It's amazing. But how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? This next question. Knowing that all these defilements, they're somehow rooted to the ignorance, I will cleanse this ignorance. I will cleanse my mind of this ignorance. How are we going to do this? It's to introduce the counter force, which is the wisdom. What is this wisdom? Okay, the wisdom is what the Buddha indicated as the third seal of the four seals. Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. So, this is what we read in Heart Sutra, that everything is like dream, everything is like illusion. The form is empty, empty of intrinsicality. The emptiness is also form. There's no form which is different from the emptiness. There's no emptiness which is different from the form. So this is what we're going to meditate here very quickly. So how to make this Buddha nature, the seed, beautiful seed of enlightenment become manifest, is by removing the ignorance and the subtle states, by meditating on emptiness. Okay, let us quickly meditate on emptiness. So this is a very profound practice, but since that some of you may not be exposed to this teaching before, just follow the instructions and do the best you can. So at least we will implant some very, precious seeds in a mind of the greatest remedy to overcome the mental defilements. Okay, think of yourself. What are you doing? I'm meditating. This is again the guided meditation. Just follow the instructions to the best you can, and wherever you are instructed to abide in a specific experience, you have to do that. Okay, what are you doing? I'm meditating. Okay, what does this person look like who's meditating? Who you refer to as I? Okay, this person is meditating. What about his or her body? Body's in a meditative posture. Good. Okay. Now look at this person. This person appears like a dream or like a solid object. Of course, like a solid object. This is deception. This is known as self-grasping ignorance. How can I know this? Okay. If this person exists instead of like a dream, exists as a solid entity as away from the dreaming mind, that is known as object. So, we see this person as existing from the object, not from the dreaming mind, not from the mind, not from the subject. So we see the person like as coming from the object. Watching a movie, the movie is on the screen. Watching a movie in a theater, the movie is on the screen. All what we are encountering, they are like movies. They are on the screen. But they are not from the screen, they are from the projector. And projector is not the screen, projector is behind you, on the opposite side of the screen. So screen is where the movies are projected, but the projector is behind you. The movie is not coming from the screen, the movie is coming from the projector. Likewise, all what we are seeing, myself sitting here, it is, although it is seen as coming from the screen like the object is coming from the object, but in actuality, it is not, it's coming from the projector like mine, my own mind. But it does not seem like that. That's true. Although it is coming from your mind. Small children, when they see the ghost movie in a theater, they're so afraid, thinking that the ghost on the screen is a real ghost. It's not coming from the projector. We are like small children. We see everything as coming from the object. This is deception. How can I know this? Okay. If this person who's meditating, if he or she does exist from the object as opposed to existing from the subject, then the closer we go to the object, we should be able to find it. Okay, let us now go closer to this object. And if we see that it disappears as you go closer to the object, it disappears, is an indication that it is empty from the object. It does not exist from the object. If it does not exist from the object, then what's the choice? Only choice left is that it exists from this subject. Okay, let us explore. Let us go closer to this object, closer to this person. Okay, so what the person which I refer to as I. Let us go closer to this person. First, we will see the very thin layer of the skin. We're going to look for this person by going closer to this object. And whatever is not this person, let us discount, let us ignore. Let us discount. First, we see the very thin layer of the skin. Of course, this is not this person. This thin layer of the skin is not a male, it's not a female, it's not me. Of course. Behind this is the fatty tissues. This is also not me, it's very scary to look at. Behind this is the muscles. They are also not me. Behind that, the skeleton, the bones, the skulls, and the blood vessels. None of these is me, 100% sure. And then the heart, the lungs. We can have heart transplantation. Heart transplant can happen. But we don't exchange. We remain the same. A heart can be transplanted, which means that this heart is also not me. Likewise the liver, likewise the lungs, the kidney, spleen, pancreas, and so none of these solid parts is me. These solid parts constitute the element of earth. Next is the element of water. The blood, which is pumped in and out by the heart to different parts of the body, that is also not me, 100%. The blood-wise, there is no male blood and female blood. It's the same blood. But I'm a male, I'm a female. Even the element of water is also not me. Element of fire, the body heat. Body heat, again, does not have a male and female gender. I'm a male or I'm a female. Body heat, element of fire is also not me. Element of air, the air which I breathe in and out is also not me, 100%. Remove that. Element of space, we are made of millions and trillions of atoms, and the atoms, the distance between the electrons and the nucleus is far, far more than the size of the electrons, size of the protons and neutrons, which means that we're essentially vacuum in nature. If this vacuum is also not me, I'm a solid person, the vacuum is empty in nature. So again, even the space is also not me. And what is left? Only the consciousness is left, only the mind is left. Even this mind is also not me, because I'm a male, I'm a female. The mind does not have a gender. Gender is posited on the basis of the body. So even this mind is also not me. And on top of that, people from distance can see me. They cannot see my mind. People cannot see my mind, but they can see me. So even the element of the mind is also not me. Now remove that. What is left now? Nothing is left there. Nothing is left there. So this empirical person who I see as meditating, where is this person? She disappears. Abundance experience that he's no more there, he disappears, she disappears. Abide in this experience for a while, to the best you can. So this tells us that the person, from the object side, the more closer we go to the object, the person disappears, which means the person does not exist objectively. Seeing the person existing from the object is deception. Now this is what we have discovered now. So with this, it is waking up. When you wake up, all the dreams disappear. Content of the dreams disappear when you wake up. When you wake up, the nightmare stops. Likewise, when we see that this person dissolves in this meditation, it is like waking up from the sleep of ignorance, where all the miseries, when we subject the miseries also, in the same analysis, even the miseries will also disappear. The miseries, disappearance of the miseries is the happiness coming to the height. So this is where, this is meditation on the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, abiding this experience, what happens to this person? This I, the person referred to as the I, disappears. Abide in this experience for a while. You may not be able to abide in it. It doesn't matter. Simply do the best you can. Do the best you can. And although it can be very gross at the moment, don't worry. It's like a very good starting point. It's very good, the implanting of a seed of wisdom and emptiness within you. Abundance experience for a while. Where is this person? The person disappears. Okay, so this knowledge, to see that this person disappears, this is known as the wisdom of emptiness. It may not be full-fledged at the moment, but this is what suffices as the wisdom of emptiness. And now slowly transform this wisdom of emptiness into a spotlessly clean white Vajra at your heart, vertically sitting on the moon disk at your heart. Thumb-sized white Vajra. Okay, now you have the moon disk, which is symbolic of the conventional bodhicitta, which is the final remedy to overcome the self-grasping, self-centered attitude. And the Vajra, which symbolizes wisdom of emptiness, which is the final remedy to overcome the self-grasping ignorance. The two demons are bound to be expelled, bound to be exterminated by these two remedies, the Vajra and moon. We are so lucky. But what about your two parents? What about all the Tiamat sentient beings? Oh, they are suffering terribly. They are suffering terribly simply because they are under the sway of the two demons. Now, if you implant in them the wisdom, the two bodhicittas, the Vajra and the moon, the wisdom and the unconditional love, which you have cultivated, they as well can be liberated from the suffering. Yes, of course, with tremendous love and affection towards your mother, father, and all the family members, all the sentient beings. This love and affection invoke the Vajra moon that you have to multiply infinite number of times. Share one side of the Vajra moon at the heart of your mother, one side with your father, one side with each one of your family members, one side with each one of the beings, the human beings, animals, insects, and so forth in Delhi, one with everyone in the entire universe. Amazing, amazing. Okay, now don't forget that you have done a great job today. So far we have been jealous towards others, we have been angry towards others, we have been firing at your mother or father, so forth, jealousy, so forth. Now we have conquered all these by the gesture of cultivating the Vajra moon, bodhicitta, wisdom of emptiness. Don't forget that all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're watching us, they're so proud, they're so happy over what we're doing here. And because of this, why not? We invite them to be our witnesses for our undertaking the aspiration bodhisattva vow. So as a gesture of requesting them to be a witness, let us slowly stand up to make 3 prostrations to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, imagining that all sentient beings, including your 2 parents, are with you making prostrations towards all beings. Okay, slowly, let's make 3 prostrations. Okay. Those of you who do not have the problem with your legs, you can sit on your right knees. The way I'm sitting, you can sit on your right knees. Those who do have problem with your legs, you can sit comfortable in whatever comfortable position. Whatever is a comfortable position for you, you can sit that way. Otherwise, you can sit on your right knees. Okay. Then in the process, because that it may take a little while, like 5 minutes. And so if you start feeling pain, you can sit in whichever position you feel more comfortable, right? Okay, So while those of you sitting on the right knees, in the process, if you feel painful, you feel free to sit down, because when you feel pain, then you cannot think. If you cannot think, the whole purpose is defeated. When you start feeling painful, then you can sit down. Otherwise, you can sit on the right knees. Okay, so okay, now let's turn to page 32. Page 32. Page 32. Yes. Okay. Sorry, it's 34. Sorry, it's 34. Page 34. Page 34. The verse which reads, I go for refuge to the triple gem, I confess the negativities individually, I rejoice in the riches of all the beings, I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. This is a precursor, or say this is more like a preliminary for what we're doing of the ceremony. This is a preliminary. It is for us preparing ourselves. So how to prepare is that this is a very beautiful summation, is amazingly concise and a beautiful summation of what we're doing. So it says, I go for refuge to the triple gem. Because what we're doing is something very noble, very noble, it needs the support. For example, if you have a huge project, and the best thing is to have support from the government. Otherwise, the project can easily crash, right? So therefore, we need the support of the three enlightened beings, three gems, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Because that this journey of Gade, when we say we are doing this, when we take the Absolute Buddhism vow, which means that we are committing ourselves to undertake this journey, Gade, Paragade, which is the greatest of the journey. For this, we need a great support, and the greatest support who can give us is the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So that is what we are reciting. I go for refuge to the triple gem. With this, because it is a journey means the road must be very clear. If you want to go to have an audience with His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Dharamsala, then we have to just say if you have to go by road, and if the road is blocked by landslide, mud, rocks, trees, and so forth, we cannot go. So the road must be clear. So likewise, the journey of the mind, our mind is the road. This mind must be cleared of the obstacles, right? So the best way by which to remove the obstacles is, what really obstructs is not external thing, is our own mental defilements. You remove the mental defilements by confessing the negativities. It says, I confess the negativities individually. Number 3. Now, if the road is very clear, if your car does not have the fuel, again you cannot go there. So, road should be clear as well as the car should have enough fuel. So, the car is none other than our own mind. Our mind is the car. So, our mind should have enough fuel of the merit. And the best way by which to accumulate merit in a very efficient way, yet with least effort, is rejoicing in the virtues of others. So it says, third line, I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. Now the road is very clear. The car has enough fuel. What are we going to do with this? Oh, I have a journey to undertake. That journey is the journey of Buddhahood, achieving enlightenment. It says, I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart, which means that I'll undertake the journey of enlightenment. So this is what we're going to recite 3 times. Imagine that your 2 parents and everyone is with you, and you are leading this, not me. You are leading this, and everyone is joining you, happily joining you, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are watching us. Okay, let's say this 3 times wholeheartedly. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. Okay, so with this preliminary, now the next is the actual ceremony of taking the aspiration bodhisattva vow. And as I said earlier, this vow, you don't have to worry about any special commitments, any severe commitments. It's very simple. If you feel painful, you make sure that you sit down comfortably. Okay, so as I said earlier, it's very simple. You reap the maximum benefit out of this taking the aspiration bodhisattva vow. Meanwhile, the only commitment that we have is that to the best I can, I'll try not to harm others. To the best I can, I'll try to help others, right? I'll try to be kind towards others. And when you try to be kind towards others, if others abuse your compassion, if others start to take advantage of you, don't forget what is known as skillfulness. I will skillfully not harm others. I will skillfully help others, right? So this skillfulness element is so important. That will make sure that others don't take advantage of your compassion, right? Okay. So now what actually we should be doing, the next two stanzas, this is the actual ceremony of undertaking the aspiration bodhisattva vow. Undertaking the aspiration bodhisattva vow, the next two stanzas. Okay, the next two stanzas I'll explain this. So the more you reflect on the meaning, the more the meanings reflect in your mind, you get the bodhisattva vow, the aspirational bodhisattva vow in a more pure form, right? It depends on how much you are able to reflect on the meaning. Now, the bodhisattva vow, there are two kinds. The engaged bodhisattva vow and the aspirational bodhisattva vow, there are two vows. For the engaged bodhisattva vows, it involves so much of severe commitments, which means it is like someone who is doing a job, right? Say there are two people, one ordinary people, they are getting, say, like 20,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees per month, or 10,000 rupees per month, or 20,000 rupees per month. And then the one, there is, say, 1,000 people, or say out of the 100, maybe like, say, 5% of the people who are getting like, say, 2 lakhs per month. And then there's only 0.1% who's getting like 20 lakhs per month. And who do you want to become? Getting 20 lakhs per month, right? Okay. To get 20 lakhs per month is not an easy job. It's a tremendous responsibility. Accumulated. So the kind of what we are doing is the middle one, who's getting 2 lakhs per month. Not 20 lakhs, not 20,000, 2 lakhs, but without any effort. Right? So we don't want to commit the responsibilities. So the next one, engaged bodhisattva vow. So there the benefit is like 20, 30 lakhs, millions of dollars just by one signing. You sign, you put your signature, and then millions of dollars is being operated. Billions of dollars being operated. That's happening, but the responsibility is huge. So therefore, for the engaged bodhisattva vow, you should be really, really committed, which means that the spirit of bodhicitta, that compassion, must be very high. And that can happen to us through practice. Even though you may not be as compassionate today, but with practice over time, you will surely reach to that level where your compassion is so intense that you are ready to take the engaged bodhisattva vow, right? But what we are taking is aspirational bodhisattva vow. Okay, now for the aspirational bodhisattva vow, these two stanzas can be used for taking the engaged bodhisattva vow as well as the aspirational bodhisattva vow, the same two stanzas. But it depends on how you take it. If you say that I take it as aspirational bodhisattva vow, then it becomes aspirational bodhisattva vow, now not engaged bodhisattva vow. Okay, now the meanings are very important. The meanings must be reflected in the mind. There are two stanzas. First stanza is pertaining to the Buddhas. Second stanza is pertaining to each one of us. The first stanza says that these enlightened beings like Buddha Shakyamuni, whose anniversary we are observing today, this Buddha Shakyamuni and all the millions and trillions of Buddhas, how they become Buddha? Out of two things. First, the motivation. The second, the implementation of the motivation. Motivation-wise, they generated a very courageous motivation to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, which is known as bodhicitta. They generated bodhicitta. Then number two, in order to materialize the aspiration of this motivation, they actually engaged in the Bodhisattva vows, practice actions of the Bodhisattva vows, like 6 perfections or 10 perfections. Getting it? 6 perfections like generosity, ethical discipline, patience, enthusiasm, meditative concentration, wisdom. Then if you want to make it 10, 6 plus 4. 4 is skillfulness, aspirational prayers or aspiration, and then the power and discriminatory wisdom. 6 plus 4, 10. Okay, so it says that how these enlightened beings today, how they become enlightened. We have the same potential, but they become enlightened, but I remain an ordinary person. It's because that they were successful in this for 2 reasons. One, they cultivated such a powerful the motivation of bodhicitta, and then to make this motivation of bodhicitta become materialized, they engaged in the bodhisattva actions of the 6 perfections and 10 perfections. Oh, if this is how they are successful, what made them successful today, I will also follow suit. I will also engage in different steps. I will also generate bodhicitta. I will also make the commitment to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. 1. Number 2, I will also engage in the bodhisattva vows, bodhisattva practices, like that 6 perfections, 10 perfections. Right? Okay. So during the 3rd repetition, imagine that the 3rd repetition, the last 2 lines, when you say, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the bodhisattva deeds, bodhisattva practices, when you say these 2 lines, imagine that you have received the aspiration bodhisattva vow, and then feel a great, great joy. So feeling a great, great joy, that reinforces the power of the aspiration bodhisattva vow that we received. Okay, let's say this 3 times together. Gurus, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successively dwelt in the bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I'll generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successively follow the bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successively dwelt in the bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successively dwelt in the bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I'll generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the bodhisattvas. Okay, feel just rejoice over having received the assessment bodhisattva vow. Okay, so while this is happening, all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas are so happy. It is like the mother for the past many years, the eldest son or the eldest daughter, always bringing embarrassment to the mother. The school always sending complaint letters to the mother. Your son is doing like this. Your daughter is doing like this. So we should think of you should think of withdrawing your child from the school like this. Now today, for the first time, the school principal and school teachers and everyone coming together. Again, the mother is so worried. Now, what my child must have done, something wrong, so worried. And today, the principal, everyone was coming with such a gesture, such a smile on the faces. What is so different today? Why? And the first thing the school principal told the mother is that congratulations, your daughter is selected as the best student of the school today for this year. Your son is selected as the best student of this year. The mother could not believe her ears for the first time after all these many years, bringing this the embarrassment to the mother. And today, there's something so new, could not believe. Such a joy coming to the mother. So with this in mind, this is exactly what is happening to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They're so happy. So far we have been doing everything against the Buddha's wishes. Everything against. The Buddha wants we to be happy. We deliberately say, no, we don't. We want suffering. And we go to do all the nasty things to bring miseries all the time. Right? Believe it or not, we do something, and after 2 years, it brings only miseries. After 1 year, it brings miseries. Not only we don't wait for 1 or 2 years. We do something today and tomorrow it brings miseries. You smile today, you smile now, and the next moment you fight. This is what happens everywhere. So this is what we're doing, and this is what brings the sadness to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Now today, doing this, guaranteed that this action of ours will bring happiness to us. This is what the Buddhas want. So Buddhas, they are so happy. Not only that, you are bringing happiness for yourself, you are making commitment for all beings, to give happiness to all beings. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are so happy. Now imagine, visualize that this happiness of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas they're experiencing today, they have their own Buddha, the moon and Vajra within their minds in a full-fledged form. So because of this happiness and pride that they feel to assume the Vajra moon at their hearts multiply infinite number of times. And in barrages like rain shower, in barrages they descend to merge with the one that you visualize at your heart. They merge, they become non-dual, they become stabilized. Your Vajra moon becomes stabilized because of the blessings, because of the merging of the Vajra, the replicas of the moon from all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Likewise, it happens in barrages. The Vajra moons from all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they descend and merge with the one that you visualize at the heart of your mother, at the heart of your father, at the heart of each and every one of your family members, each and every one in India, each and every one in the entire universe. Okay, now this is the best gift that you can offer, possibly offer it to all your dear brothers and beings. Today you did it. This is the best offering that you can make to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Today you made it. And this is the wisest way by which to extract the greatest meaning, to give a greatest meaning to your life, and today you did it. This is amazing, amazing. This is all happening because of the kindness of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. As a gesture of thanking all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, let us again once more stand up to make 3 prostrations, imagining that your 2 parents and all sentient beings are joining you in these making prostrations. Okay, now please take your seats. Sit comfortably. Okay. Now we see that, say, amongst the young children, all newborn babies, they are not same. Some are more compassionate, and some are very selfish. I don't know where these young children they bring their selfishness. Even young 1-year-old baby, tremendously selfish. But some 1-year-old babies, they're very compassionate, they have a sense of sharing with others. It's amazing. Such a contrast. The parents may not be as kind towards others, maybe selfish, but the child is very different from the parents. At times the parents are so kind, so compassionate, so caring towards others, and the child, I don't know where this gene came from, so selfish. Day 1, right? 1 year old, 2 years old. Such anger is there. I just witnessed one time. Such anger and ego. Just imagine 1-year-old baby. What the father did was that he was just trying to provoke his own child, and the child was playing with the remote control, and the father took the remote control and just staring at the child, took the remote control and kept it there. You could see from his face, the child's face, he was so angry, it hurt his ego. that he just stared at the child, penetrated at the father's eyes with his eyes, his own eyes, and he went to grab at the remote control. He kept it his way. He kept like this, and the father did the same thing. He became even more angry again. He did the same thing. Just imagine 1 year old, right? So where did this child bring this anger? From where, right? Which means that this child is not a child. He was a very elderly person from the past life. He was so rich in anger from the past life. So this is what I'm saying. Now, this bodhicitta which we have generated now, which is a pride for all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, we should make sure that the next life we take birth as a young boy, as a young girl, right, should be seen some very special in the eyes of others. If the elders should be feeling so deep admiration in this young child, you as a young child, displaying such a natural gift of intelligence, natural gift of compassion, with the bodhicitta and the wisdom emanations. How can that be possible? How can that be possible? Is one, by constantly practicing this in this life. Number two, in this life, rejoicing in the good things that you have done, particularly rejoicing in the practice of wisdom of emptiness and rejoicing in the practice of the bodhicitta. Okay, so what are we going to read from now? Page 35. The last stanza is to say a very strong prayer that in my future life, may I never be separated from these two teachings, these two practices. Okay, page 35, last stanza. Let's say this wholeheartedly 3 times. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the two precious bodhicittas even at my... Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the two precious bodhicittas even at the cosmic life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by a compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the two precious bodhicittas even at the cosmic life. Okay, the next, page 36 and down. So now we are almost coming to an end. Page 36 and down, page 36 stanza 150 and down. So this is primarily to make a compassion profound. Compassion, there's so many kinds. Say, when you see someone who is physically disabled or ill, then you may feel compassionate. Whereas when you see someone who is, say, materially wealthy, physically healthy and young, instead of compassion, you may feel jealous. You may feel envious. In actuality, everyone who has self-grasping ignorance, who has self-centered attitude, they really deserve compassion, because it is just a matter of the immediate things, immediate, say, happiness, but deep inside everyone is suffering as long as you have these two demons inside oneself. So, particularly when you are under the ensnarement of these two demons, what happens is that you are in a dream. You are constantly having a dream, a nightmare dream, being chased by a ghost. As long as you don't wake up, you continue to suffer in the dream, nightmare. So what is being said here is those who do not have the wisdom to see the reality, to see everything is illusion-like, then these beings are like trapped in the illusion and not knowing that it's illusion, and they continue to suffer. So this explanation of that. And then at the end of this part, the author, Bodhisattva Shantideva, he prays that may I be able to shed this light of the wisdom of emptiness, to let the beings discover that they are dreaming, so that they can wake up from this dream and that they don't suffer anymore. So this is the prayer. It's a very powerful, this to reinforce our compassion towards the beings. Page 36. Therefore, sentient beings resemble dreams. Upon analysis, they are like plain trains. Whether they are released or not from sorrow, ultimately there is no difference. What is there to be gained and what is there to lose with things that are empty of true existence in this way? Who is there to pay me respect and who is there to abuse me? From what are pleasure and pain derived? What is there to be happy or unhappy about? When I search for the ultimate nature, who is there to crave and what is there to crave for? Upon analysis, this world of living beings is found to have no true existence. Therefore, who can dine there? What is there to come and what has been? Who are friends and who are relatives? or you who are investigating reality, please recognize, as I've done, that all is just like space. Those who wish to be happy are greatly disturbed by the cause of conflict and overjoyed by the cause of pleasure. Not finding happiness, they suffer, and in order to find it, they exert themselves, they argue with others, cut and stab one another. With many wrong deeds, they live in a state of great hardship. Even though they repeatedly come to happy existences and experience much happiness, much pleasure there, upon dying, they fall for a long time, including within conditioned existence, the chasms of suffering are many, and the liberating comprehension of ultimate truth is absent. Furthermore, the apprehension of true existence and the understanding of emptiness mutually contradict one another. Yet if, while in conditioned existence, I do not realize this ultimate truth, I should continue to experience a limitless ocean of misery, unbearable and beyond analogy. Likewise, through not having realized emptiness, I have little strength for virtue, and my many human life of leisure and endowment is indeed very short. Also, I strive hard to live long and avoid illness. I am concerned with hunger, rest and sleep. I am enjoyed by others and keep a meaningless company with the childish. Therefore, this life swiftly passes with no meaning, and it is very hard to find the chance to investigate reality. In this state, where is there the means to reverse this beginningless habit of grasping at true existence? Furthermore, devils are exerting themselves to cast us into vast unfortunate realms. They show us many mistaken paths, and it is hard to resolve doubts about a perfect way. It will be hard to find the leisure of human life again, and extremely difficult to find the presence of the Buddhas. It is hard to forsake this flood of disturbing conceptions. Alas, sentient beings will continue to suffer. Oh, indeed, it is worth feeling sorrow for those adrift in the river of pain, who, although they experience great misery, are unaware of the suffering they go through. For example, some ascetics wash themselves again and again, and others repeatedly enter fire, but although they thereby suffer greatly, they pride themselves in being content. Similarly, those who mistake their suffering for joy and live as though there were no aging or death are first of all killed by the Lord of death, and then experience unbearable misery of falling into low realms. When shall I be able to extinguish the pains of those tormented by the fires of suffering with the rain of my accumulated happiness that has sprung from the clouds of my merits, and by having in a manner of not referring to true existence, respectfully gather the accumulation merit, when by referring to other, will I be able to reveal emptiness to those who are wretched and sad. Okay, now the following few stanzas before the dedication. This is to rejoice in having taken the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. So this rejoice, what happens is that you take this, you think about bodhicitta, you think about wisdom, emptiness, and then you rejoice. So these two are linked in your mind. These two are linked in your mind. Because these two are linked in your mind, then next life, the moment you hear about bodhicitta, the moment you hear about the emptiness, what happens? There's a joy coming in your mind, because these two are linked. So next life, you feel joy in just meeting with somebody talking about emptiness, somebody talking about dependent origination, somebody talking about bodhicitta. There's a tremendous joy coming in you, soaring joy within you. You don't know what that is. You feel connected. Joy is the one which connects yourself with the things. Joy is the one. When you don't find joy, you will think of running away from it. When you find joy, you don't want to be separate from this. So that this is how we make sure that we feel we continue to be connected. We continue to remain connected with these two brilliant practices, which are the greatest meanings of our life. In this life, say whatever we've been doing, we have to work for money, for our living, but that we eat something and that's finished. And then we say we go to sightseeing, and then we come back, it's finished, right? So whereas this thing, the bodhicitta wisdom of emptiness, you have it, and you can take these two things with you. This will give you the forever, happiness forever. Okay, so with this, we need to rejoice so that we are not separated from these two in the future lifetimes. We'll say this again. In order to further increase from now on, those with discernment who have lucidly seized and awakened mind in this way should highly praise in the following manner. Okay, very quick, sorry. So awakened mind here refers to the bodhicitta, unconditional love, wishing to achieve Buddhahood for the benefit of sentient beings. So now from stanza 26 down, where you see the word it, the pronoun it, this pronoun it refers to bodhicitta, right? Okay. Let's continue from, let's read from 25 once more. In order to further increase it from now on, those with discernment who have lucidly seized and awakened mind in this way should highly praise in the following manner. Today my life has borne fruit, having well obtained this human existence. I've been born in the family of the Buddha, and now I'm one of Buddha's children. Thus whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied race. Just like a blind man discovering a jewel in a heap of rubbish, likewise by some coincidence an awakened mind has been born within me. Is the supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death, is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in the world. It is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease, is a tree that shelters all beings, wandering and tired on the path of conditioned existence, is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth, is the dawning morn of the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions, is the great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world, butter from the churning of the milk of Dharma. For all those guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence who wish to experience the abundance of happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and actually place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors, and were the world to be guests at a festival of temperate and ultimate delight, may gods, demigods, and all be joyful. Okay, so with this we finish this, the undertaking the ceremony of the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, and we'll now do the end dedication prayer. Let's pray that all the enlightened beings who bring harmony, who bring happiness, who bring joy on this earth, for example, like His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all the enlightened, all the great beings, let us pray that they all live long, and that the teaching on bodhicitta, the teaching on compassion, the teaching to bring about the harmony, in this chaotic, in this disintegrating world, fragmenting world, to all people to come together as in the spirit of sisterhood, in the spirit of brotherhood, with the sense of understanding, with a sense of the openness. So let's pray for that. And this, the fun essence of what can possibly bring that make it happen, is through enriching, disseminating the teaching on the unconditional love of bodhicitta, and the teaching on the wisdom of emptiness, wisdom of the interdependency of one another. So with that, just let us pray for that matter, and we will say the last stanza here, page 43. I dedicate the merits thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the three times, and to the upholding of the doctrine of Scripture inside. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the four wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect view in the two stages. From my two collections, vast space that I've amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom is blinded by ignorance. Okay, so with this we finished, and thank you all for joining Tibet House on this very auspicious occasion. And for information, in the National Museum, we have the very precious Buddha relics sitting there, and if possible, see how much we can, so in once in a year, how much we can pay obeisance to the Buddha's relics there. So the Buddha himself made a prophecy that after assuming Mahaparinirvana, so the people who got the opportunity to meet with the Buddha Shakyamuni in his life, they were very fortunate, of course. And then he said that out of his love and affection towards all the beings who are going to come after his assuming Mahaparinirvana, so he said it emphatically that I'm going to leave the relics, so that whosoever comes in contact with the relics, whosoever says prayers in front of the relics, they will reap the same benefit of the merit accumulation as much as what the people who were actually praying same prayers in the presence of the living Buddha Shakyamuni himself. This is what he said. So therefore, it's very auspicious for us. It's very meaningful for us to make sure that to make the most out of our being in Delhi, despite being in the terrible pollution and terrible air pollution, terrible heat, terrible cold. But one thing which is of the greatest pride of Delhi is the National Museum's Buddha relics. So if you can go there and take these prayers to the Buddha Shakyamuni there, then we can reap enormous merit, and a merit is the one which makes all our aspirations come true. Okay, thank you.
Is it displayed now?
Sorry?
Is it displayed now in the museum?
Yes, it is always there. The Mondays off, otherwise always there from, I think, from 9:30 till 5, 9 to 5, yeah. Okay, thank you. So, is there some? Okay, some prasads there. So make sure that you take your the what? Prasad from downstairs. Okay, yeah. And you can share the prasads with your parents also. Okay.